Time, Dennis. Just in time. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
If you guys only knew what was going on behind the scenes.
It got pretty heated this morning about some kind of email address and which one we should use or shouldn't use, and there was some yelling. And
Jerry was trying to tell me something, and Steve wouldn't shut up. So
No, you wouldn't shut up.
I was trying to talk to Jerry.
Because all you do is talk. Like I said, it's a good thing we're all friends.
Anyway, I hope everybody's having a good week and I was having a good morning so far. Anyway,
somebody's YouTube is on. Somebody's YouTube is on.
Somebody's YouTube is on, not mine.
I hear echo.
You getting echo?
I didn't turn mine on yet.
It was me. Sorry, I forgot I had another window open.
What a great start to the show.
See, this is the kind of intelligence you have running this show right here. We have no idea what's going on.
No.
Okay, Steve.
Man, it's good to be back, man. I've been gone forever. Good grief. Well, good morning, everybody. Let's run through this. We got how many Johns do we have in here? We got so many Johns. Holy moly. We got Rob T-Man, Schuylkill River Valley, John Digger, Dwight Curley, good morning, John Tanzillo, John Dawson. I said Dwight. We got Sparky. Good morning, Sparky. Digger's in here. And Allison's in here. Jack. Good morning, Jack. Mark Pruitt. Good morning, Mark. Did I say Rob T-Man? I think I did. Gerald Stewart. Good morning, Gerald. And I don't know how to pronounce another John. Is it Knoffel? Knopful? I don't know, but anyway, welcome to the show. Let's see, Roy Hardwick. Good morning, Container Man 68. Buddy Bernard, he sent us a picture of a derailment in town. They got grain all over the place. Let's see. Who else is in? I think that's it anyway. Good morning, everybody. It's good to be back.
Jack. You missed a couple people. Al Moore.
I didn't see Al, and I said Jack.
Okay.
We got so many Johns in this place, it's almost like a block.
Good morning, everyone.
We got, Heath is in there. Heath. I didn't see Heath.
Yeah, Heath. You forgot Heath.
I just said Heath. I didn't forget him. I just said him. Didn't you hear me?
Something's in the air today. I don't know what it is.
Good morning, Bill, if you're watching.
Yeah.
For me, it's like 5 cups of coffee so far this morning.
I've only had 2, so.
Well, so far on your camera, Steve, I've seen balloons and thumbs up, and there was something else. I can't remember what it was.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you get all these little animations pop up every once in a while on your camera. If you do a thumbs up, a lot of times it'll pop a little thumbs up. Yeah.
I don't know, whatever reason.
First thing this morning, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the steam off your coffee that was the camera could see or what, but then it showed all these balloons floating up.
I think you're seeing things.
No. It's on your camera.
It's
for some reason.
Go watch the replay. Watch the replay.
I love this. Yes, Wilmer, there's only one. Yeah, nobody can take Wilmer's place. Anyway.
No. Wilmer.
I hope everybody had a good week. Anyway, what's going on? Steve?
Well,
I don't know.
Okay.
We could start with
what's going on.
What I've got going on.
Yeah, what do you got going on? What is that thing?
I got this little miter box from Micromark.
From Micromark.
Not a complimentary, but this goes specifically with this miter box. And
correct me if I'm wrong. Micromark makes great stuff, right?
I don't know what Micromark actually makes and what they aggregate and sell that other people make.
Yeah.
Therefore I don't know for sure, but one thing I can say for sure about this, now I don't know if they're all this way, but this blade, I'm not going to fit in this. It absolutely did not fit. You can see, get a little pointer here. So I've widened out this and this, these two, and then you can see that one there I haven't done anything with yet.
That's a big difference, man. That's like twice as wide, it looks like.
I mean, there's no way that blade fits in there. And I'm still having to struggle to get, that's how tight it is.
Yeah.
Which, probably is a good thing to start out with. But
take a little lubricant.
I had to work probably 15 minutes to get that part of it. I don't know if anybody else has got one of these. Was it the same way when you got it? Is there anyone in chat that's got this same miter box? I'm curious.
I don't have it.
I don't. And I won't be buying it either.
Well, I mean, I think it's going to work. I think it's going to be
sure it will, but I don't.
Good tool, but it's a little frustrating if you pay, $20 for something and you have to alter it the second you get it to make it work the way it was intended to work. That is frustrating.
Well, he says it sounds like something you should give away.
I already gave Heath a building. I gave Heath a little building, and then he ripped the roof off. The dots. Which, I don't care. I just think it's funny.
I used to have a miter box, aluminum miter box that went with the razor saws, X-Acto razor saws, but it was an X-Acto miter box. And of course, much wider than that one.
Yeah.
And it worked really well, except I got tired of cutting everything by hand. So I started cutting stuff on my bandsaw and then doing the fine finish on my disc sander. So
these blades say, there's a website, www.cmkkits.com. Resin kits. I don't know what CMK stands for.
not very good.
Well, I mean, this in and of itself, I think, is a handy tool. I don't know that it's any better than this. This is, you got a longer draw with that.
Yeah.
And it's the same size. But if I'd have known that this was the same thickness as this, I wouldn't have got it. I would have, because this right here will work fine.
Yeah.
In this miter box.
Yeah.
Claude, are you going
to
get the camera off of me? Thank you.
Well, we're trying to show them what you were looking at, man.
Okay. Starting to feel a little self-conscious
there. So, Dennis, I got a little question for you.
Uh-huh.
Your scratch build buildings, what do you do your mock-ups out of?
The mock-ups are out of, I think it's called Taskboard. I've got.
Where do you get that?
I get it at Hobby Lobby.
So Hobby Lobby has it?
Yeah, give me a second.
It's almost like a heavy poster board.
Yeah,
easy to work with.
Yeah.
Pretty much exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's like an extra thick poster board, so it doesn't bend. It doesn't bend.
Let me see that. Put it up close.
You can get it in some different sizes. I know I have gotten sheets as big as, gosh, maybe 2 foot wide by 18 inches tall. I'm not sure of those dimensions, but bigger than what you could work with.
I'm gonna go over there
on your desk, probably.
Yeah.
They'll be wide on both sides.
You just cut it with a utility knife, like X-Acto?
Box knife is what I use.
Yeah. Okay.
This one right here.
Yeah. Okay.
And if the only thing about getting this particular size, I don't know what the thickness is. It's about
John Tenzel uses
about a 1/16 of an inch.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about foam core is sometimes it doesn't cut very clean.
If
so
they
thick.
make specialized tools for foam core.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. If you were making the decision to do a lot of stuff with foam core, and we're going to continue working with foam core. The tools would be worth the money you'd pay for them, just like anything that you do. You know, if you have a good tool that works well, it's worth its price.
Yeah, that seems to work.
If you're just using something like this for foam core, you're not going to get a very good cut because it's going to end up with a non-square cut in my experience. With this, you don't have to worry about it as much.
See, and I don't know if John was saying he uses foam core or if he was asking if that was foam core, but that is not foam core. That's more regular cardboard.
It's about a 1/16 of an inch.
Yeah.
Task board, right? Task board.
Let me see what it actually says, because I might have that wrong.
Yeah, it's just like a heavy poster board is what it is.
Yeah. This is actually made in France, believe it or not.
Dennis, Heath wants to know what tool you use to gap your tracks.
This.
What does that mean? Gap your tracks?
For isolating blocks of track. You know, like if you want to make sure that your electricity doesn't continue from point A to point B, and so you have separate electrical blocks for whatever reason, you have to have a gap. That's what I do for my turnouts. Now, just for regular track, I generally use the plastic rail joiners with you know, either Pico or micro engineering is what I use. I don't like to use them on curved sections, but I also try and make sure that I'm not ever gapping anything on a curve if I can keep from it. Try to keep all my gaps in straight sections of track, best of my ability.
And you're just doing them for blocks?
Electrical blocks, yeah.
It's amazing.
You have, if you're going to have a frog that changes polarity, you have to gap your frog out in your turnout. If you want the frog to have the correct color of electricity, either the diverging or the straight through route, you have to gap it. Otherwise, you get a dead short going across the frog.
What's amazing is how small the blade is on these. Mm-hmm. Claude sent me this. Wasn't that nice?
Yeah, it was nice of Claude.
I thought so.
Claude doesn't like those things.
I know, that's why he sent it to me.
Claude's a nice guy.
Oh, yeah, I am, Sparky. I'm way out in left field. No, I think what Mark's referring to is see if this helps, Mark. Does that look better?
Yeah, it looks good.
I think that's what he was talking about. I'm guessing. This is the back on track hat. And that's embroidered.
Here's a good question for chat, since we're kind of talking about tools. Is there any tool or device that someone has purchased that they decided was a complete waste of money and would suggest not ever buy it again? Green is the color for frogs, Sparky, if you didn't know.
Actually, Sparky, you know, if you touch the two different sides of an electrical system together, it makes lots of colors.
What you got, Jerry?
I bought that Woodland Scenics little vacuum. You know, the vacuum stick. You ever see it?
Yeah, got one.
It's $10. I thought, wow, man, this thing's great for cleaning up the layout. Don't work too good, man. It's just like
is it a vacuum or is it an attachment to a vacuum?
No, it's a little vacuum. Dwight Curley has one. It works pretty good for him. But the thing is, right? You're running it, you shut it off, everything falls out.
Yeah,
you got to keep it going, and then you got to turn it.
Yeah, and then you got to take it apart and clean the little screen off so it'll keep pulling. Because if you don't, it's like if you're doing static grass and vacuuming up static grass with it or something, or foam foliage of some sort, it'll pack in there where it won't suck anymore. You know, you clog that little filter up, and it's
got a little learning curve to it, I guess, and I don't like the learning curve of it. You know, it's like
I've got one. It's not the best, but when when you have to get in somewhere and vacuum something, but you don't want to get your top back in there. You don't
Yeah,
want
I can
to
see.
you just want to get a little bit of stuff. It's good for that. But
I can see that being good.
yeah,
I'll probably bring it over and use it when I do my switch and layout.
I think they actually made that more for dust removal than anything else. Which for that dust off a structure
Up stuff, yeah,
and stuff, it would be good for that.
yeah. But yeah, it's pretty much the only thing that I've bought that I wasn't too happy with.
Yeah, I can't think of too many. Look, there's some things that I've looked at and I thought that's a gimmick. The little, actually, I think I do have an in scale kind of ballast thing that you're supposed to drag along.
Oh
That was a
yeah,
waste of money.
was it?
In my opinion, yeah.
Nathan's got a question here. I'm assuming he's asking us on the channel. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan. Are you asking about Back on Track channel?
He's
Channel. I don't know.
talking about like overall. I'm guessing he's celebrating 10 years, and he wants to get some ideas how to celebrate.
No, we've only been on here about 4 years, I think.
Yeah, I've been on here a long time. I didn't celebrate.
I didn't even celebrate
working on
my
our
third year or second year. I don't know how I would approach that. If
I'd have to go back and look. Yeah, we're not anywhere close to 10 years, so
We're closer to 5.
yeah. He's asking everybody.
Yeah.
So everybody's been on YouTube that long.
I don't really celebrate anything.
You could always do a giveaway, or
if you want to give away.
Lots of channels do that kind of thing. We've done it before on this channel.
Mm-hmm.
We've also done auctions.
Heath said he's his worst tool that he owns.
Sparky, I like Sparky.
Definitely the most
destructive. Nathan's in May.
Most destructive, huh?
JD says he's been on for 12 years.
Yeah, my channel's been up for a long time because I only had like 2 or 3 videos on there of when I was flying airplanes and stuff from years ago that I put before YouTube really got big. YouTube wasn't very old when I put those up, so I don't know how old YouTube is now, but that's when those went up there, probably early 2000s. So my channel's probably been on there for that long, but I also changed the channel name.
Hey, I got something for everybody in chat and everybody in general. I've been like searching, looking for new channels, and I find these channels and they're pretty cool. And I'm looking through the comments and I see people's names that I recognize in chat. I'm like, damn, he never told me about this channel. I'm like, yo, you guys over there, you see a cool channel, you really like it, share it out. Let other people know about it, because there are some really good channels that I found. And I'm like scanning through and I say, damn, man, that dude's holding out on me. He's not telling me about this good channel.
My channel will be 5 years in October if my math is right. But I didn't really start building in here. I think everything I've done in here is 2 years.
No,
it might be 3. I can't remember.
At least.
You think?
I found your channel when you were still putting in stuff in the room, as far as building the room.
Well, that's what I mean. The actual railroad portion. I don't think that this staging yard has been in here more than 2 years. I don't think.
No, it hadn't.
The channel has been 5 years, and I know it's probably been.
It'd be cool to go back to your first video.
It's October 6th, 2019, but it's me building this. It's not the railroad.
Yeah, that's when I found your channel.
Yeah, because I remember one of your first comments was, "Dude, make sure you put that in a metal box, or you're gonna burn the whole damn thing down." And I'm
really?
like,
it was something. It was something with an outlet or something.
I'm working on it. I'm just making sure the shit works. Then I'm gonna go back and do it right.
Yeah, he was He was putting in his
I
electrical,
remember.
electrical boxes and stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't even remember I don't even
I
remember
think
what he
Sparky
did
even
that I
came in
commented
and
on.
gave me some gentle advice on the wiring as well, if I remember right. I can't
I have to go
recall.
back and watch that one.
Well,
Read
I was just trying to save you some grief down the road.
Well, they're not very good videos. You know, they're like the first videos I ever posted. Well, at least videos that have anything to do with this channel. I've got another channel where, you know, me and my daughters, when they were little, we did, you know, some movie making type stuff that was called Sibling Rivalry, that was just goofy stuff. But as far as this kind of thing, they're pretty rough, I would have to say. They're not
How
very
long have
entertaining.
you, Dennis? How long have you been conceptualizing this layout? And that goes for everybody in chat.
Well,
here.
I would say when I first started model railroading was back in the late 90s, 98, give or take. I'd have to think about that for a minute. But in the late 90s, I had in my mind, if I ever had the space, what and how I would build what I was going to build. And I've got track plans that I drew before I ever had a computer, you know, to do any kind of CAD. I've got somewhere in a box up here somewhere parts of this layout to a certain degree. You know, some of, like, frying pan basalt has never changed. Pretty much it has been a part of every railroad that I've conceived of since I started building model railroads in my mind.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. You've been percolating on that a long time.
Yeah, because I love the concept of having a division point yard with a Y in it. And so much of what's there is inside the Y. And it's small enough in the real world that you can model most of it fairly accurately. If I'd had another 4 foot, I think I could have put everything that needed to be in there without hardly compressing anything.
Yeah.
I think I figured out that the end of the main line run, that's the straight through part of the Y in basalt. I think it was only like 800 feet. I can't remember exactly, but it's doable in HO in about 16 feet. If you had 16 feet, yeah. And I did it in 8, so, but it's pretty compressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as is everybody's layout. It's hard to have, you know, you go to the Model Railroad Museum in Greeley, and that's in a purpose-built building, and it's huge, and the layout's huge. But, you know, to actual scale of what anything would actually be, maybe their lumber yard on that layout, if you've seen it, they've got a lumber yard that they have tracks alongside where they bring lumber in, take lumber out, and that sort of thing. That may be close to what one would be, but everything else on there is pretty well compressed.
Yeah.
How about you, Claude?
Even layout that big.
How long have you been working on your layout in your head before you even started your layout?
Who are you talking to? Dennis?
You, Claude. Dennis. Dennis told me.
Oh, I didn't really think about it until my son mentioned I ought to build a layout.
Oh, really?
We should build a layout. Oh, that didn't last. He got me started. That's what it was. But, and that was about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
5 years ago. 5 years ago, I guess. And I started one and I ended up tearing the benchwork back out before I got very far. In fact, if you go to one of my first ones of my train videos, update videos, I'm showing an upper deck where the upper deck just now went in. I started with that thinking, well, I'll start up high where I can get to it and then do the stuff underneath. And then I quickly realized that wasn't going to be.
Yeah.
It was going to be easier to put the bottom in, then put the top in. And so I ended up tearing it all out. Well, the layout changed then. Then I really got serious about finding a track plan that I could at least take ideas from that would fit the room, because the room's an L shape. And I needed something that could make that inside corner that sticks into the room and work around that and make the, because if you just do a curve around that, you got to have a pretty good, it's got to come out pretty wide before you can make that turn. And then it also, if you don't put, like on my first one, I didn't have anything there. It was basically just a very narrow shelf where the train came from one leg of the L to the other leg. But that line right there was just that one line. And so you lost a lot of railroad by doing that, a lot of layout by doing that. And so I was looking for something I could make that L work, that inside L work. And if you go to that very first video, at the end of it, I show the track plan that I actually put out after I looked at a bunch of books and found something that gave me an idea for what I ended up doing. And I made a general layout of the track plan, but that changed as I built it. So I made changes as I was going along, because I didn't really put in I didn't plan for a staging yard at all, and I ended up putting one in. So, which is funny. It's a staging yard for the standard gauge, which doesn't have much track on it, but I got a staging yard for it. But it started out with, that's how it started out. I had the weird shape room, so I had to start finding a plan or looking for ideas in plan books.
Right.
That would make me be able to do that. And I found one that was a loop-to-loop layout, a dog bone kind of layout, or a water wings kind of layout. And I ended up taking it and folding it over so the loops are right on top of each other. And the rest of the track goes all the way around the room. And so that ended up working real well. And then the narrow gauge goes above that and up onto the second level. That's how mine turned out, how mine came to be.
Yeah, it's fun going back and looking at old videos, like go back to when you started. And
I just looked at that the other day and I thought, oh, I forgot I started with that top. It's a piece of Homosote, and I've got some of my Fast Tracks turnouts laying up there and got them pinned in place. And of course, it's not near as deep. It was only a foot wide, I think.
Yeah.
And near the space that I have now up there. But it's changed quite a bit from what
it's cool to see how things have changed over the years for people, or weeks, or
how the people have changed,
Yeah.
Yeah, you get more ideas. I think in the hobby, I think you get more ideas. You see somebody do something and say, hey, I want to incorporate that.
Well, yeah, it's like, I'm watching these videos now and I'm saying, hey, I like that little part right there, that little part right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just little things that,
Well, my original idea for the layout was to climb to the second level without a helix. I was going to have a mountain over on one side, a low mountain on one side, and it was going to circle around that. So technically, it was a helix. It wasn't going to have but one spiral, and it was going to climb all the way around the room to the other side. I preferred that, kind of like what Dennis is doing. I preferred that over having a helix, but it just wasn't going to give me enough elevation, first of all, to get a second level in. And so I ended up, when I folded over the loops and then decided, hey, I can come in above those with the narrow gauge and make a short helix inside the mountain so you don't even notice it's a helix. That worked for me. So, you got to work with the space you got and what you're using. But, in the short of it, everybody's going to have to compress what they're doing. Even if you're just doing a shelf switching layout, you're going to be a lot smaller than what the real thing would be, for sure.
If it existed.
Yeah, if it existed, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm reading chat here, so.
Steve 87 is still in India or something, I guess. I don't know.
I'm about to say I picked having an American breakfast with wife over hanging with all. Catch you next week.
See you, Steve.
Hey, Steve, take care.
Maybe he's home. I don't know.
Find out what everybody's talking about. Okay. Okay.
But
Yeah, Kyle. Was Kyle one that you were saying wanted to come on the show?
I
I
think
think
so.
so. Yeah,
So,
Kyle had mentioned about coming on the show, and
Yeah, Kyle, if you want to come on the show, just tell you what, the best way to do is to send me an email to my personal email, and I'll put that in here right quick. Or anybody else for that matter that wants to be on the show.
yeah, you guys be on the show. Show everybody what you got going on. Talk about your railroads,
or just hang out with us.
yeah, just hang out with us. Whatever. Okay.
We're not
That's wrong.
things.
That's wrong. I missed a letter or didn't hit it.
You got to talk though, so that's pretty
You,
mandatory.
well, yeah, but Claude talks too much, so we
Well,
got
yeah, maybe. At least you got to say something.
Somebody's got to carry the show.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Somebody has to carry the show. Make sure that's right before I put it up there.
Task
Okay,
board.
that's the right email. So you can just copy and paste that, and that one I'll see. If you send it to the show email, I don't see those until Friday, maybe Thursday if I get in and set the show up early. But I only go in there once a week, and that's when I set the show up. So if you send it to the show, I'll see it very soon. Anyway, yeah. So if anybody wants to be on the show, just take that email and send it to me, and we'll work it out. So what are you doing, Dennis?
Well,
I mean, I watched your update.
I've got this that I'm probably going to start working on this on Friday. Next
that?
Friday.
Is that a kit?
Yeah, this
That's
is
cool.
a
Oh wow!
stamp mill.
Where did you get that kit?
Do what?
Who makes that kit?
Wild West Models. I
Wow.
can't remember who originally. I think there was another company that originally produced this. Wild West Models took over the plans for it. Michael McCarville might know more about that than me. But I've already looked through the instructions. They've got great instructions.
It
There's a
looks
picture
pretty good.
with everything.
Yeah,
Really well thought out. It should be.
and a nice little binder. How much was that kit?
I think it was $80.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I can't
there's a lot
remember.
just in that little binder thing.
Yeah, but if I do it right, it'll work. You can actually spin the wheel, and they'll lift and fall.
I can't
So
imagine they sell many of those kits, but maybe they do.
I wouldn't expect they sell too many of them. I don't know. I doubt that they keep the doors open for sure for the company.
With
I
that
also, this is also a purchase I got. This is a rock crusher. I'm going to have one of these in there, and it looks like it's mostly
I
plastic.
just can't believe that these kits are out there.
Yeah,
That's 3D printed, looks like.
yeah. So
Wow.
that's on the plate. I think I will be doing that next Friday because my job has changed again. No, it's not a Walters kit. And again, it's changed for the better. I'm no longer having to go to the worst prison in the state of Oklahoma to work one day a week. I'm staying at the same prison all 4 days of my work week. I've been having Mondays off, and now I've got Fridays off, which is better in my opinion. So,
Are you still staying in the trailer by the lake?
nope,
No?
I'm here at the house.
Oh, that's nice.
At least for now, things could
Yeah,
change.
good.
But
Good for you. Hope it stays that way.
I think I will work on that this coming Friday. And then, of course, if you've watched my latest
I have
update,
to watch that. Yeah.
my primary thing that I'm working on right now is Maroon Creek, which is right up here. I'm hoping that I can get, because there's two halves of this section of the layout. You got the half to the right of the creek and then the half to the left of the creek. I'm hoping that I can nail down where exactly those two halves are this weekend. If I can do that, then I can put my cork on, and next weekend, hopefully, I can get track laid on this section.
So your that Maroon Creek goes over your staging area, correct?
Correct.
And I think I remember you saying you really weren't going to plan on scenery in the staging area. Going to say otherwise. I want to start doing some of that before you put that over the top.
I flirted with the idea and decided that I have got more than enough railroad to keep me busy for the rest of my life with scenery.
Yeah.
Without also doing this. Now, it would be nice, and there's still some things I could do, I think, even after I put, the top of Maroon Creek over top of it. I could still go back and do some things with it, but it's not necessary because I've got plenty to do without adding to what I've already decided to do. How does Gail feel about being home all the time? Has she had to cancel the dance parties at your house? You never know. You don't know what you don't know. Now, right now, she is at least pretending to be happy about it because at this time of year, the school system lets out on Fridays because they didn't use all of their snow days or whatever it is. So she's off on Fridays. So before my day off on Monday was by myself, her day off on Friday was by herself. Now, starting next Friday, we will both be off and have a
So you're saying ask again next week, see how she acts.
Right. If I'm still alive,
you can have a date
on
day.
Saturday morning, you'll know that it worked out okay.
Well, when I retired, and then I retired before my wife did because she made me. But then once she retired, she was here and she was doing stuff in the house all the time that she'd always wanted to get done, but never had time or energy to do. And now she plays pickleball 3 times a week, golf 1 time a week, and bowls twice a week. So she's always out doing stuff. She found out real quick she didn't want to be here all day with me.
So, Dennis, you've really put a lot of research in your layout to find all these machines that they used. And
well, I mean, if you're going to model a subject, you kind of, in my opinion, you kind of need to know a little bit about the subject you're modeling.
so, like, if I model a warehouse, should I dive deep into it and see what's going on?
It depends on whether or not you want to take the roof off and allow people to look inside.
Okay.
If you have no desire to model something in detail, then no. But at the same time, if it were me, I would want to know what the warehouse shipped and received so that the details I added on the outside of the warehouse might be accurate to what was in the warehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike's got a good comment here. Most layout plans don't utilize the upkeep afterwards, track cleaning, electrical issues, motor power, gremlins, etc. Yeah, that's so true. And John Tanzil said that's just part of being a model railroader.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it happens to everybody. You're looking
Part
at
of the hobby.
and that's the furthest thing from your mind is what you're doing. It's just like me, my layout upstairs in the room. Right now, the way my feet and my knees and my back are all the time, I'd been much better not to have it up there.
So for me, it's the first thing in my mind. It's the first thing in my mind. When I look at Dennis's layout, I say, no way. No way I would even want to start like cleaning that. Same thing with Sparky's. I look at that and I say, it'd take you months to clean that.
Well,
No.
I mean, maybe.
I don't know that to be
talking about
accurate.
the room or like the track. I don't
No,
know.
like the maintenance of your track, to keep it running, and
Right.
I'm sure that
I don't do anything to it.
Yeah.
I mean, just to be blunt, I don't remember the last time I said, you know what, I'm going to clean my track today. I just haven't done it. Now, again, there's a difference between what we used to do 15 years ago without current keepers in our locomotives. If you have a current keeper in your locomotive, you can get by with a lot more dirty track.
So that's the secret, huh?
It's one of the secrets. And the
The
other
other is
secret,
run your
in my
trains a
opinion,
lot.
is don't
Run your
put
trains a
anything on your track. I see people putting mineral oil, and maybe that's, I don't know. I haven't tried that. But
So you haven't put anything on your
I
track?
put a block of wood on my track.
Really?
Yeah, the only time I really clean my track is right after I paint it. And I got to clean the top off. So I'll get in there and get something on it. And then I might, if I haven't run trains in a while, I'll take a big washer and kind of burnish the top of it maybe. But that's about it.
Really?
So, here's an example of what a block of wood will look like after maybe you've rubbed it on your track. And then the other thing that I will do is this is synthetic squeegee.
Synthetic squeegee?
Yeah, like you use to clean your car.
Yeah.
You can buy real squeegee that's leather, that once it dries, it's real brittle and you can't do anything with it.
Oh, like a deer skin.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a shit.
I don't know what this is actually made out of, but I got it wet. I shaped it to this block of wood.
On wood. Okay.
And then I will rub this on my track. Now, most of this that you see on there, that's from my in-scale layout. I have hardly used this at all.
Looks like you're going to need a new one soon.
Huh?
Will you need a new one soon?
I don't think so. I mean,
No?
Maybe I might make another one, but really, that's pretty much all I do.
Claude's always sideways.
Roy, that's pretty much how it always is. Pretty much. You can ask my wife, actually. I don't know why my phone's doing that now, but it does every now and then.
But I think the one thing that would be the biggest mistake, in my opinion, is putting any kind of abrasive on your layout unless you plan on really burnishing it afterwards.
Define abrasive, like one of those
like a Bright Boy. If you put a Bright Boy on your track and then you don't go back over it with a washer and burnish it and make it and gleam it, so to speak, you're just asking for trouble. If you're going to do one, you really need to do the other.
Yeah.
Which
I have done that.
That's a good point.
After I paint it, I try to clean the top of the rails while it's wet, but it never all completely comes off. And so then when I get up there and look at it really close, I'll usually take a Bright Boy and get the places that didn't come off, but then I'll take the washer and go back over it and rub it down really good. And Sparky, don't help Steve out any.
Steve, you got anything to say?
Bernard's got a question.
Yeah, he says, hey guys, sounds stupid, but what's the easiest way to ID track material type? Guy's got probably 600 feet of mixed. Besides a magnet, any quick tips?
ID track material type.
Well,
I don't understand the question.
Maybe like nickel, silver, and the old style. Say again, Claude?
Well, the difference between nickel, metal, steel, of course, brass, you'd be able to tell.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that's what he's talking about.
Most all of it's nickel, silver, but I think there's some different compositions of the nickel, silver. I've heard that you can rub the nickel, silver off. I don't know if that's like some of it's plated. I couldn't tell you which manufacturer does what. I presume that like microengineering, the whole thing's that there's nothing plated. It's all the same material, and you can't rub off the plating. But I don't know. I've heard that, but I don't think they dip it. To me, if it was plated, you would end up having to dip it, and then you could rub some of it off. I don't know.
Stephen, that would probably be true for a lot of like Atlas track, stuff like that. But if it's just rail, if it's just the rail itself, those aren't marked to my knowledge. Microengineering isn't marked, I know that. If it's just the rail itself.
I mean, it says made in the USA. Microengineering is all I
but that's on the plastic.
On the plastic, right? Yeah, you're not going to find
the
anything
rail.
on
It doesn't have anything
the rail
on it,
itself,
so
no.
I would think that's because he was saying, yeah, brass, nickel, etc. Yeah, the only three that I know is brass, nickel, and steel. You know, some of the real early stuff was all steel track.
I was thinking that Lionel had some aluminum. Am I wrong about that?
Oh, they could have. Yeah, Lionel could have had some aluminum.
Oh yeah, Lionel did back in the day.
I think there is some aluminum out there in the larger scales. I don't think I've ever seen it in the smaller scales, but
steel hasn't been made, I don't think, for a long time for model trains because it just rusts too easy.
Yeah.
And if it had been put away in just bolts of rail, I would think it'd all be rusted. So that would be easy to tell it was steel.
So nickel silver is not magnetic?
No.
So I guess a magnet is the easiest.
And it doesn't oxidize as bad.
Right.
Brass, yeah. And I think the oxidation is still electrically conductive. So I understand it.
So sawdust.
I have found out one thing that'll happen with nickel metal rail, microengineering rail, is I actually used in a couple of spots on this upper deck, instead of using caulking. The problem I have with caulking is it tends to release after it cures. It tends to release sometimes.
Yeah.
So I started in this one place. I used just some Type Bond. Okay. So once it takes longer to dry, but once it dries, it does not let go. The problem was it tarnishes the rail. Now it looks really good because it's a natural tarnish, but it tarnishes the whole rail, and it's got to be something with the curing process in the
turn it green
that causes that. I don't know what.
Turn it black or green.
How did you get it all over your rails? Just out of curiosity.
I didn't get it on the rails, but like if I use that, then I usually put a block of wood or something on it, and then put a weight on that, and leave it until it dries. And I don't know if it's because it's underneath that. And it's something in the curing process in the air around it that causes that.
Because I use Type Bond specifically. I used it on the loop from Silver Gulch into Frying Pan. I haven't noticed that.
It didn't do that to you? Huh.
What type of wood? What type of wood do you use? What type of wood do you know?
Well, mine is on
just pine.
Mine's on spline.
Just white pine, yeah.
I wonder if it's like the
NDF.
But I used the wood.
The resin and the pine.
No, but I used the wood on everything to hold it down.
Yeah.
I never put a weight directly on the rails. I always put a piece of wood, whether it's plywood or pine,
right.
A 2 pine or something. Then I put the weight on top of that.
Right. It evens it out though.
Yeah, it spreads it out a lot more, depending on what the track arrangement is. But I don't think it was the wood that was causing it, because it didn't do it anywhere else. It was only where I used the Type Bond. So I'm almost sure that's what it had to be, was something in the Type Bond that was causing that. Now it's not a big deal because it cleans off the top of it just fine. And the side of it, I don't worry about it. It's getting painted anyway. So, but it does give a really cool looking tarnish to it. But I wouldn't want to have to glue every piece of rail down like that to get the tarnish. But I did notice that, and I don't know if anybody else has run into that or not, but it was really weird that I saw that. I thought, what is that? And it's because I used the Type Bond on it. It had to be. It's the only difference between that and everything else I've used. Because I've used E6000, I've used caulking, all that kind of stuff. And it's never done anything like that.
I think moving forward, I will use the Type Bond everywhere, I think.
You're going to hold your track down with Type Bond?
I think so, yeah.
It holds it well, that's for sure. E6000 works really well too.
But like if you wanted to take it up,
Well,
You run into a problem, it ain't coming up.
and you're right. I suppose I don't know. I haven't tried that. If you wet it down like you would like normal white glue,
It ain't coming apart.
it's going to come up.
I don't believe so.
That's why you have to be confident your track is where you want it to be, and why nothing is glued at this point that other than, you know, the mainline loop type track, because that can't change. You know, there's not like I'm going to make a decision to do something different there. So I figure,
white glue.
huh?
Why don't you just use white glue? It's
I
just
might.
cheaper.
Yeah,
I might.
I've used that too in a few places.
Like I see guys, I've never done it. I see guys just, putting blobs of white glue between the rails and in a couple of spots, and that was it. Like,
Well, and the other thing is,
done it, but
all you have to really have is something to hold it temporarily, because once you put ballast in it,
right, yeah,
hold it in place. It's not going anywhere. Once that
Yeah,
ballast,
That's why I've got
glue on
track
it.
nails everywhere. That's
Yeah.
kind of my plan, is to leave the track nails in there until I ballast, and I can take the track nails out.
So you will take track nails out.
Oh yeah, that's the plan. And then you'd have to look pretty hard to find a hole in one of my ties. You know, if you're looking that hard at the layout, there's the door. If you're trying to find something wrong, go, why are you got these holes in your ties? Why are you looking that close?
Why are you so anal that you're up there looking, eyeballing the ties on my railroad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Todd's in the chat there. He only uses Omisode. He uses spikes it down.
Yeah. Bernard uses white Cowboy.
I've got a sheet of Homisode in my my gardening shack. I might use it somewhere.
Where do you even get that stuff anymore? Does Home Depot
You have
carry?
to special order.
No.
Of course, I have to special order most everything where I'm at, so it is what it is.
You've got to get it from a wholesale lumberyard, or
And
not a
there's a pretty
wholesale,
good chance they're going to
but
give
an
you
actual lumberyard.
So like a
look.
big lumberyard might have some Homisode.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll
Dedicated lumberyard, not a Home Depot, not a Lowe's.
Yeah, no, yeah, dedicated lumberyard.
Now you can go order it. That's
and see if they have Homisode.
Well, I went to Home Depot to order mine, but they sent me to the place where they would get it from. They said it'll be a week before it gets here unless you want to go get it. I said, I'll just go get it, because it was actually out close to my house.
Yeah.
So I went and got the 2 sheets. But yeah, they don't use it as much as they used to in construction. It was
Right.
meant for flat roof material and sound deadening.
I've got a ton of Homisode that's all ripped out into HO sub road bed up in my attic.
Yeah.
From your dad, huh?
No,
Yeah.
I did a layout that I built back
Oh,
into
really?
here. I've probably got several hundred feet of it at least, and it's all cut to width and beveled on the side.
Damn.
If anybody
You can
wants
sell that stuff.
it was for shipping.
Mike Dunstan,
Yeah.
and welcome, Mike. Says Home Depot has it, but is listed as concrete gap filler. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. They don't have it. They don't have it here in Tulsa, I know, but they could have it some other parts of the country, I know.
Menards has it.
They
I'm
might.
I'm guessing because Wigwag said something. He shops at Menards.
We don't have any Menards here. Menards is
No Menards here.
north and Midwest. Yeah.
What's funny, Dennis?
What Bernard said.
Bernard says everything Bernard says is funny.
Yes, today's world, don't ask for the once common name. It often offends people.
What was its common name?
I guess Homisode.
Yeah.
Why? Like,
you got to call it concrete gap filler, because we changed the name and everything. I think is what he's suggesting. Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and when I was plumbing, we used to run into Homisode on flat roofs of commercial buildings. They use the homosoap.
So I call my,
It would be 2 inches thick at least, and then that's what they put the tar on top of.
so I can't call it homosoap when I ask my lumberyard if they have it.
Well, they might
Not know
recognize-
They may not know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Especially if they're younger guys, they won't know what you're talking about.
Just go offend somebody.
Bernard was being tongue in cheek. He was being tongue in cheek.
Oh, yes, he was.
As usual.
But he was right. It's not that they would offend them, it's just that they wouldn't know what you were talking about because it's just not used much anymore.
Yeah.
But it is great for model railroads. It's easy to spike into.
Terrible to cut, though. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It's messy to cut. But if you keep a vacuum where you're cutting it and you vacuum it up as you're going, it's not too bad.
Could you think you could just cut it with a circular saw?
Yeah.
It
I
is
cut mine with
extremely dusty.
or a table saw, whatever.
I have to see because maybe I'll use that instead of foam on top of my
Well,
layout.
the other nice thing is,
I would prefer it over foam personally.
Yeah.
actually, the thing is, you don't need anything under it. I'm using 1/2 inch homosoap in some places, and it's plenty strong enough as long as you've got your.
Could you mount turnouts to it
Do what?
if you wanted to? Could you mount tortoises to it?
I did on this upper deck. I did the first tortoise coming around the corner to
Really?
my upper deck before I get to the plywood. And I went just to use the regular screws that you would
Really?
use
It held screws.
or into the homosoap.
So maybe I'll just use homosoap and no plywood.
Yeah. Well, on my tortoises, I always use a piece of 3M two-way tape.
Okay.
That help me get it lined up where it needs to be.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
Right. And then that also helps hold it. But then I put the 4 screws in, and I put it right on the homosoap, and it's just fine.
I'm gonna have to see. I'm gonna have to see if they carry it.
All the turnouts in my staging track are all under homosoap also. Did you start to say something, Steve?
I tried to. Steven says the homosoap's a brand name and it's copyrighted.
Yeah.
He says generic version that he thinks called Pressboard. And there's a famous model railroad called Homosoap Flats.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
I never have.
Because if you get some of the old plan books, like 101 plans for model railroads, I think they talk about using homosoap in there. Any of the old model railroad construction books that do the L girder and stuff like that, they talk about using homosoap. But it was more common to use back then too.
Michael McCarville. I tell you. You missed his earlier comment. It's way up there. Said something about you being in prison, and I didn't think your modeling was that bad.
Yeah, well, there's not. I'm not shocked by anything Mike says anymore.
Steve, it's good to have you back.
Good to be back.
Yes, it's good to be back. And we got about a minute and a half left.
Look what I made. This is my latest sign.
That's cool.
Show me your pig.
Yeah, you guys want a sign for your railroad? Show them your Dwayne Fork and Spoon Railroad.
Oh,
Yeah, show Dwayne.
Steve will gladly make you a sign for some greenbacks.
Oh, definitely. I got to get Dwayne's shipped on Monday, but it's
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Awesome. So, like, I know we don't have enough time, but maybe next time you can talk about, do you make a stencil?
No, actually what I do is I find the stencils online. They're free and I just print them up on my printer. And then I either glue them to the wood and carve through it, or lately I found a way that works really good is it depends on the wood too, is if you have to do something, you print it in reverse and then use iron and just iron and it transfers the ink over to the wood.
Mike
Yeah.
says he likes seeing Steve's latest signs, but then you know how he's been this morning. I don't think he really means it.
Yeah, you guys want a sign for your railroad? Get Steve. He'll fix
Yeah,
you.
Steve up. He'll cut you a sign.
He did a nice one for Claude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've come to.
This was Claude.
Yeah, that locomotive looks awesome.
Yeah, it did a really nice job with it.
Yeah, you did spot on work. You're better than a CNC. I seriously, like you're better than a CNC. You're
Well,
better than a laser.
That looks a lot like the metal sign I have.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're over our hour, guys.
See you guys. Everybody have a
As
good
usual, it went
Yeah.
by way too fast.
I got lots of model railroad to build today.
Well, don't cut yourself and get blood all over everything, Dennis.
We'll try not to.
I'm going to Hobby Lobby today.
Well,
Week.
Jerry and Steve, Dennis, you guys have a good week, and we'll see you later. And
See you, fellas.
everybody in chat, have a good
Thanks for
rest of the
tuning
week.
in.
Have a good week, and we'll see you back here next week.
next Saturday.
Bye-bye.